Alright, welcome back everyone, it's your Code King Zaf here, going over the build guide for one of the best hunters in the game if you're at the early to mid game mark. Right now when it comes to Goto, he doesn't necessarily have any late game capabilities, but let me show you something that's very late game. That is the Simulation Gate tier 30 with a 2 million power requirement. Watch as we jump in. You can see I've already cleared all the way to Jinwoo using our win team of Goto with close to a 1 million power deficit. So how did I do it? What build did I run? Let me show you. I'll show you the ins and outs of Goto, but let me show you something very interesting a lot of you probably missed. When it comes to Goto, he can actually buff any player on the team, that being your hunters. So if we run into this mission here, we go into the Centipede battle. If we have Thomas Andre on this slot right here, he actually gives him a 24% damage increase. Yes, based on his passive right here, at the A4 mark, he gives the target a 24% damage increase if they're at the third slot. The damage of the third hunter in the team increases by 24%. Very nice. And I do want to mention, when it comes to Goto's sweet spot, I know it's a question a lot of you have. I would say right now, A4 is pretty much the best point for him, just because at the A5 mark, although he gets more damage, we don't necessarily have to have him to A5. He can use some of his skills 2 more times, and he gets a bit more damage coming in, but still, it's not necessarily a must. I would say at the A4 mark is where we get the most value out of him. So if you're looking to use him as a buffer to Mirai and also a general damage dealer and breaker, I would say the A4 mark is perfect. But if you want to use him to carry you through the workshop, because Goto is a dream for the early to mid game players, you want to have him all the way to A5. That way you deal the maximum of damage and you get the most power coming in. So that's my suggestion. But when it comes to late game players, right now there isn't necessarily too much content for him, but don't get me wrong, he's one of the best characters in the fact that he provides a lot of utility and also amazing break. His break is absurd. So let's go over his build, that we know exactly what to run, and I'll show you our testing as well, so you know what happened and kind of what build adjustments you can make, because a lot of builds do work on him, and honestly they're all very comparable, working fantastically on Goto. He's one of the most versatile hunters I've seen in a very long time. So as you can see right here, we did a few tests when it comes to the builds that work best on him. We have Cursed Obsidian, we have Greed, and we also have a hybrid. But before I jump in, I do want to mention, if you want a bunch of free codes, yes free, I highly suggest you go to the link down below and support us. Again, it is 100% free. That way, I can't send you a bunch of juicy codes. All you have to do is press this button right here. Then this page loads up, you scroll down, press that, press yes, and you're done. You're supporting us very easy. Then you wait 24 hours, then you press the My Page button to the very top right there. Then this page here loads up, you scroll down, my name should come up right here, you keep going down, and under Receive Benefits, this is where all the unique codes will go. We have Skill Room Chests, we have Mana Power Extracts, Essence Stones, and more, so make sure you support that way. You don't miss out on these free benefits. We have one more code coming out in addition to the 6 we have right now, so do stay tuned for those 7 juicy codes. And speaking of juicy, a big congrats to Untamed Nature Force for being your first comment to our last video. Here's your shout, bro, and enjoy that juicy exclusive Discord role. Now let's jump back into our testing. As you can see, we did the Cursed Obsidian set, we did the full Greed set, and also we did the 4 Greed and Obsidian set. And honestly speaking, when it comes to DPS sets, they work on Goto, but wait, hold on, we had a 1 billion power deficit. Well, that's because we have Jinwoo on our team as well. So although we gained as much damage as we lost on Goto and Mirai, we still got the benefit of Jinwoo getting the full Greed bonus buff. So when it comes to POD, going the Greed set is the way to go. But when it comes to, I guess, general game modes, we're using Mirai and Goto on a team. You can run the Cursed Obsidian set, but when it comes to the Simulation Gate, going all the way to tier 30, I use the full Greed set. It just worked better, just because Mirai deals more damage than Goto, under certain conditions of course. You can see when it came to the power of destruction, the damage difference wasn't that much. We gained 700 million damage on Mirai, but we lost around 500 million damage on Goto, so we could say the Greed set is better, but we can run the 4 Greed and 4 Obsidian set as well. It's a very comparable run, although I would still suggest going the full Greed set. It just works better, it's more consistent, but when it comes to the guild boss, unfortunately, running the full Greed set and running a DPS set is kind of not comparable. Running the 4 Obsidian and 4 Curse set was actually slightly better on Goto. It's kind of surprised, it's still very comparable. The reason is when it comes to guild boss right now, our win team just kind of lacks due to Mirai not being able to keep up. She is Kane's student, but Kane would be very disappointed just because Mirai cannot stand still, she has to move around all the time, and she can't get the mana regen coming from hand semicircle, so that's the reason why Goto does perform so well using the Obsidian Curse set compared to running the full grade set, where we lose a lot of damage. As you can see, 500 million damage was lost, but we only gained around a 300-ish million bonus on Mirai, so it was not worth it. But besides the Guild battle, for most other runs, I would say running the full greed set is the way to go. But if your greed set isn't up to par, you can run the 4 greed and 4 obsidian set, that works too. But the full greed set right now is the best on Goto, bar none. Now the question is, what stats you run on him? It's flat better or percentage? Well, when it comes to your core, it's very important. You want to go flat stats, so additional HP is much better than percentage. Let me see if I have a comparable one here. I don't think I've ever ran percentage just because it's honestly way worse. So just take my word for it. As you can see, yeah, no percentage HP here. Even on my worst codes possible, none are percentage. Okay, we have this one here, 6.99. We can compare it to something similar. Let's do someone that's worse. So we have this one with 1741 HP, and this one here with kind of the same amount of HP bonus. So 7% versus 1741. I'm going to equip this one. Let's see. We gain how much HP? So we have 67504 HP. We jump back here. We change it. I found this one here works perfectly. 6.99%. Very close to the bonus we get here. So we're going to equip it. We're going to go back. And our HP goes down by a ton. So that's why flat is so much better. We just lost 500 HP just from a marginal change there. So make sure when it comes to your cores, run the HP bonus. It is so much better than having flat HP, of course. Let me just show you again. We're going to go to one that's actually arguably worse, just so I can really drive it home for you. Let's use this one right here, which actually has a lower bar than this one. So equip, watch this, boom, 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 even more HP gain. So flat is much better. That's how we run it. But how about when it comes to our artifact sets? Well, it's kind of tough to say because they're very comparable when it comes to flat HP and percentage HP. Let me show you. Now for the sets, let me go ahead and make a random artifact piece just to show you how it works. So we have percentage HP on this one here, and I'm going to compare it to a flat HP bonus. So we're going to go back right here. You can see we have two pieces. This one has additional HP of 3430, and this one here has percentage HP of 20.36%. They have no other HP bonuses, as you can see. So let me equip this one really quick, confirm. Oh, my gold is gone, but we have 60540 HP. If we jump back and we swap to the other hat, you can see right here, boom, confirm, equip, and watch this. Our HP went down just a tiny bit, not that much. So I would say when it comes to the stat, just go with the bonus that's highest for you. So if you have a piece with multiple lines, and those stats all went into percentage HP, you can run that, or if they all went to flat, you can use that too. It just depends. There's not much of a difference there. It was very marginal, but for me, I generally do run the percentage stat just because as our hunters keep on leveling up, the percentage stat does become much better. That's just me though. It's up to you what you want to do, but as you saw right there, from our very limited test, the percentage stat worked brilliantly, so it's up to you. They both work fine, so don't stress out too much. Now, when it comes to stats, the main question is, what should you run? Well, when it comes to my stats right now, they're not necessarily the best just because I'm running the simulation game, and I'm not too worried about the stats here, but I am worried about how much HP I have to ensure I get some survivability in. But overall, when it comes to Goto stats, you obviously want a lot of HP just to ensure he survives, and also just to ensure his skills do scale off the HP we have. Goto is an HP scaler, which makes him a very valuable unit for tanking damage, but when it comes to the DPS front, although he's good, we want to focus on buffing Mirai, so overall, his stats don't matter too much, but he is capable if you want to build him for a DPS route, if you're trying to solo Baron. So overall, you want these stats right here. Let me show you. If we go to his stats, I'll tell you what to run. So for his crit, you generally do want a higher amount, around the 8,000 mark to 10,000 mark. That's a pretty good goal to have to ensure if the enemy does have a crit resistance, we do go past the debuff. And when it comes to our crit damage, same thing. You want 200% right here. And when it comes to damage increase event spend, it kind of depends on the enemies you're facing. A lot of the time, we actually don't need too much event spend, but damage increases a stat we can always use more of. So if the enemy has a ton of defense, if they're very high level, obvious defense spend is the way to go. 30%, 40%, it will be useful. Though 40% is kind of rare for most content in the early to mid game, so don't worry too much. Just go damage increase and go a bit of defense spend if you can. that's your goal. And when it comes to HP, I mean, you do want a lot of HP on Goto towards the 70-ish thousand mark. I think I have the artifact bug yet again, super annoying because I swapped them out. But we do want a lot of HP on Goto. That is ideal form, of course. And when it comes to a skill rotation, honestly, I think the devs did a very good job in the skill guide. They did a pretty good example right here. You can see we use our basic skill number 2, this skill right here, increasing the damage and break damage of Phantom's Heavenly Hurricane, this skill right over here, of course. We want that skill to be buffed up. That's why we use basic skill number 2 first, then this one here. We spam it. We use our core attack and then our ultimate skill, and rinse and repeat. You can cast your basic skill 2 times, so do know that. It can be spammed in a sense as well, but this skill here, you always want to make sure to use your second basic skill, Reverse Tempest, first to ensure you buff the break damage and the damage overall. But how about the skill level up order? Again, honestly, same thing here. We want to do our basic skill number 1 first, level up all the way to 10 or 7, up to you, and then basic skill number 2, getting some damage in. It's not too bad, it's pretty strong, I would say. We can use it twice if you have the A5 mark, and our ultimate skill right here, it's fine. The damage is okay. We do get a bonus to it, but overall, it's not the best damaging skill. It does have some bonus perks when it comes to break, but again, not necessary. The core attack is next, QT, support skill, basic skill. These are all fine, so you can follow this order here, honestly. The devs did a very good job with this, so that is the skill order we recommend. And again, when it comes to his sets, the greed set is pretty much the set you have to use, and his core as well. When it comes to his cores, honestly, again, when it comes to stats, flat defense, flat HP, flat attack, not percentage, is the way to go for more power coming in. But when it comes to stats here, it depends on your artifact set. So right now, these stats here, you have damage increase, we have damage increase as well. This one doesn't matter. We have to swap this out. But when it comes to Goto and the stats you choose, again, for the cores, it matters on what we need. So in this case, let's say I'm taking these stats here. I would want more crit rate. I would want more crit damage, more damage increase, more defense pen. We have a lot of improvements here, so we'd have to adjust our cores going forward to ensure we get the most stats coming in. So hopefully that crash course did help you out. When it comes to elements, so for cores, they don't matter on Goto too much. None of them really matter. He doesn't need any of these here. Mana consumption reduction, not needed for him. He has so much mana regen. And what else do we have here? This one here, same thing, mana, nope, don't need it. This one here, nope, more mana, don't need it as well. So these ones here we just don't need. Basic attacks, landing 3% power, sure, that's the only good one on him right now for this one here. So it's up to you, but don't need it at all. When it comes to these cores, I mean, honestly, decreasing your damage taken should help, you know, if you want to be more tanky. The shield 2 works out well, but it doesn't matter too much. If you have existing cores, they're good to go, you can use them. Same thing here, I mean, do you want attack on him? Do you want core damage on him? Nope. The only one you could probably run is this one here, giving you crit damage increase of 20% when you use the ultimate skill. Otherwise, yeah. When it comes to Goto, he doesn't need too much. None of our cores really benefit him. He can just solo alone by himself without our cores, without any real focus. He is a very versatile hunter, doing massive break damage, but also massive damage by himself towards the early to mid game mark. But when it comes to late game right now, unless you're using Simgate 30, I don't see a purpose yet, but do stay tuned. We're doing more testing just to see how good it really is. But on that note, that is it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, drop your like. Make sure to subscribe, that way I do know you want more content like this. But on that note, do not forget to support us. Again, it's free. You get a bunch of free codes sent to you. This is your Code King Zav, signing out.